What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we're taking a look at The Walking Dead final season. This is the third to last episode, only two more after this, and I can't believe that we're almost at the end. The storyline's really heating up. Yet again, we got another great episode. I'm really liking this final part of the final season. I'm really enjoying it. Let me know if you guys are enjoying it as well in the comment section. And I'm going to be live streaming after the final episode of the series. So the final episode of the series airs November 20th at 9. And this is for AMC Plus and cable. So everybody's getting it at the same time. So an hour or so after the show, we will be going live. And I hope to see you guys there. We're just going to do what we do here, except we're going to do it live. And I'll react to your guys' stuff in the chat and whatnot. So looking forward to that. But let's break down this episode right now. It's a Negan heavy episode. So we start off the opening montage with a bunch of Negan footage from past episodes, seeing his journey and how far he's come, because he has the big decision point in this episode. And I'm really enjoying this part of the storyline. This episode is basically split into three parts. We're with the prisoners at the prison camp. That's part one. Part two is Carol and Daryl and them trying to break into Alexandria. Part three is the B plot, and that is Eugene's trial. So we're going to get into all those different storylines. And I have some interesting thoughts on it that I'm excited to share with you guys. But I'm liking how we're bringing back the storyline about Tyler Davis, the guy who kidnapped Max, who was protesting the Commonwealth and the Resist the Commonwealth guy. So he is in the prison camp with them. Makes perfect sense. I kind of assumed that they were Designation 2. I'm going to have to admit I was wrong on some of my theories in this episode, of course, because last week I was like, oh, I'm sure Negan's wife and Herschel are both Designation 2 and they're already sent off to the CRM. That was my theory. It's not happening. Not yet anyway. I still think that might be what the spinoff is about, but we both have both Herschel and Negan's wife in this episode. And Negan's wife is working with them. Now, I'm a little bit confused what the scene in the bus was supposed to be, if Negan's wife is just working with the rest of them. I don't really, like, what was she selected for specially? I don't know how we had that scene, and then we have just her in the mix with everybody else. But I like that we're setting up their plans. Well, they're not exactly having a plan to break out yet, but they're just keeping track of how many guards are around at any given time. There's like a map of the area that Negan's drawing. And I'm liking all these storylines. Of course, Negan's weakness is his wife is there, so he has something on the line, and he risks it. He's trying to get through to somebody, to this guard here, who becomes an important character and makes an important decision at the end. This guard, he's appealing to him, saying, this is my wife. Can I take more work so she gets less work? And he says he's not talking about the Commonwealth. He's talking to this guy in particular. So I like that we're right away, before we know this character is going to be more important, that we're already trying to humanize him right away. So I feel like they should have done some of this previous episode. And we should have seen this guy before. If they knew this was coming, I would have been saying that we should set that up earlier. But, I like the character. I like this, the concept that we're trying to get the Commonwealth soldiers on our side, too, because obviously they know what they're doing is wrong. So I like the complexity there. I think Negan's wife is a little bit over the top in this scene and later. Negan's getting hit and abused by the guards, and and Negan's wife comes running in, and they gotta hold her back, and then they do the same thing at the end later. I feel like, I don't know, we don't really know a lot about Negan's wife, Annie. She's overly aggressive, but doesn't really, I don't know, I don't know that she has won enough fights to really have earned that, but we haven't seen her history, so, I don't know, Negan's wife character always felt kind of forced to me, and that doesn't really change in this episode. And then we see, Daryl and Carol and them looking through the binoculars at the windmill. So last week I was like, why did they move to Alexandria? I don't know why. And I wonder what the explanation for that is going to be. There's no explanation. It's just like, we're just here now. So I don't know if that just means, okay, that was a temporary camp they set up before and then they moved back to Alexandria. I don't know why we needed to have that as a reveal. I think they could have just gone to Alexandria to begin with. If that's the prison camp that they want to set up, they could have done that right away. They didn't need to do an episode somewhere else and then now this. I get bringing them into Alexandria, though, because it's familiar surroundings, making the old new again. And I'm cool with that concept. It felt a little unnecessary. But here we finally get back with Aaron, Jerry, Lydia, Ezekiel, and them. And they have a word for the variants. They call them climbers. I like it. It's catchy. So I like to have different words for all the different variants, terms that we use for them. So that sounds like something cool. But we finally get answers about the Oceanside thing. I assumed Oceanside was all wiped out because of Lance's coin flip at the end of part 2. They've been holding off on this reveal for a long time, and I wondered why. I thought maybe this would be the CRM reveal, where we see, they were all taken designation 2, they're going to the CRM. Maybe that's all a red herring, and it turns out that they just took over like how they did everywhere else, and it looked kind of like they were going to kill everybody at the end of the last episode, but the fact that they're here, I would say it didn't look like they didn't end up doing that. So I like bringing, and we got the music teacher guy whose name is escaping me. I forgot to look it up before I started recording. But I like the character. He's been absent for a long time. So it's great to see him and Jules. So I like them back together. And, of course, we set up their relationship before. So I like bringing these characters back. And then we're getting pursued by the Commonwealth. And we got to keep on the move. And they decide to blend into with the herd. And we don't get back to that storyline until much later. Which is okay. I like that other shoe dropping finally. And here we are in the courtroom scene, and to me, I was thinking about this, I was like, man, if this wasn't, like, only 2 episodes left, I honestly, as much as bottle episodes, when there's too many, they get kind of annoying. I would have loved a full episode of this court case, because I guess I'm kind of into legal dramas a little bit. Of course, I love Better Call Saul, you guys know that already. I like to watch court cases and stuff, so I'm in my head thinking about the strategy of the prosecution and the defense, and what laws they're going to look at, what evidence they're going to pull up. I would have loved to see a lot more of that, but instead they focus on the personal side of things. So it's pretty good, but it could have been like the best storyline in the episode if they really drew it out more. But we start off with Pamela giving her testimony and crying about her son dying and stuff. And I understand that in a court case, that is what you would want to do. But just as the leader of the Commonwealth, of course, I mean, she planned all of this. This is all of her. She's a very composed person. We know the pain is real. But I think that she's putting it on as an affect here for public sympathy. But my thing with it is that as the leader of, like, as a president or someone with political power, etc., you never want to be seen crying in public. It's never really a helpful reassuring thing to the public. You always want to be looked at as a person in control. This is the one opportunity at Dead Son where you might be able to do that. But I think, I don't know, I think she's hurting her credibility in a sense. Not so much her credibility in terms of believability, but just like the credibility of the threat that she poses, because she's like, she's the head of the army, right? So she's in control. So you want to preserve a little bit of the stoicism as a leader. So that part kind of, mixed feelings on it. But and then she mentions that she says that the tape of her son, it wasn't her son and it was doctored and all that. And my thing is like, okay, where is the tape? Has the tape been entered into evidence? In terms of a discovery, as far as a court case would go, if Pamela had it, I mean, of course, it's all corrupt, etc. But in terms of court rules and stuff like that, discovery, they would probably be forced by the court to supply the tape if they still had it. And the defense would want to admit that into evidence if possible. So these claims of doctoring, she would have had to at least bring in some video witnesses. She would have had to have some sort of evidence to accompany that. And this is just me being like I have a casual interest in lawyers and stuff like that. So I would have liked to see a little bit deeper. But you know, I do ultimately like these scenes. One other thing I want to mention is that we're in the train station right now. They're reusing that set. It's a clever reuse of the set, and I understand budgets. They can't just build a bunch of things, but they have a courthouse. Come on. They have to have a courthouse. So you're telling me they don't have court cases going on all the time? I'm sure there's petty stuff. And I mean, you know, I don't know if this is the Supreme Court or how their system works, but I think that they would want to use the train station as a train station, and they would have a separate courthouse. So, you know, it's a small thing, but I don't know. That part kind of threw me off too. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to notice. But, yeah, I like this. Like I said, this is the C storyline in the episode, and I almost wish it was the A storyline. And I would have been down for an entire episode. Of course, the play is trying to get Mercer on her side, which, spoiler alert, happens at the end, and I absolutely love to see it. But he doesn't have the courage to testify in court, though, which is very unfortunate. So here we're splitting up and going different ways into the Commonwealth. Makes sense. Here we're trying to get through to Tyler, Negan, and Ezekiel. And I like these scenes too, this prisoner scene, and I like how even Tyler Davis is defeated, and he's like, it's survival. We have to not rebel. And then at the end, Negan gets taken away. And I like how Tyler Davis, maybe he was thinking about going along with their plans for a second there. But then when Negan gets taken away, he's like, no, you guys are a liability. I'm not doing it. But we get to see a change in him. So, interesting character. I like, again, it was a one-off character, and they brought him back, and they're doing something with him, so which is cool. And now we have this kind of temporary villain in the warden here, and he's a very shady guy. And I love this scene between him and Negan. And here we're setting up the soldier yet again. And the soldier's got a sick family member. He tried to get a transfer, and he's getting punished because he went around the warden's back to try to get transferred out of here. So that is the key that lets us, that lets us turn him to our side. And I love that storyline. Again, I think it would have been a little stronger if we were setting up this character over the previous episode as well, and you know, maybe we knew that already or something, but basically they found the map in the scuffle that Negan was drawing of the guards, and he is basically looking for Negan to be the inside guy on the rebellion. He's trying to crush it before it starts. So I like the tension in this scene. The music's really good. You know, I like the banner right behind him. You know, it's simple scenes, but it's really good dialogue stuff. And then Negan gets rewarded with a scene with his wife. And, you know, honestly, they're really trying to make me care about this. I just never really have. I mean, she just kind of showed up in the part 2, and I never really bought into it, I'm going to be honest. So I don't care about this relationship stuff. Maybe you guys do. It always felt forced to me, but I already talked about that. And then we get another underground sewer situation. And I love the set. It looks cool. We don't really end up doing too much here. But, of course, that gets us to where we need to go. And, of course, the main reason we went back to Alexandria is because our crew, of course, knows all of these hidden passages in and out. So that's the real reason that they transferred it to Alexandria, so they could have our characters have a believable way of sneaking around everybody, because of course they have home turf advantage, and they're breaking into the house and stuff like that. And here we're getting the backstory of the Commonwealth, the Commonwealth taking over Oceanside. I really like the music teacher's guy's monologue that he has about it. Great acting. I like that. You know, he's been absent for a while, so we're giving him a little shine. I really appreciate that. This scene here, also just bringing the emotional resonance in. The Max thing, I never really cared about that relationship either, because it's still relatively recent. I do like Max now, and how she's trying to do the right thing and be rebellious and stuff like that. So I respect the character. I like the character. This one I buy into a little bit more than Negan and his wife, but still, it's still, not really hitting the same way. Although it is hitting me that Eugene is a lovable character, and I don't want him to die either. So, it's a good scene. And, I think, again, that's one of the more interesting parts. So here we got trying to convince Mercer, and he's just doing the same routine he's been doing all season, where he's like, nothing I can do about it. I'm not testifying. But of course we're seeing a change in him. I think it is all you can do. You can't convince him in one conversation. All you can do is plant the seed and hope that it grows on its own. So that's how I think it went with Mercer. And here's a scene that I really love. We take a second to process what's going on. Maggie's still dealing with what we saw her going through last episode. And Carol and Maggie, I love them on screen together, working together, sneaking around. It seems perfect for their characters. These are two of my favorite Walking Dead characters. So this was a really great scene, and the emotional resonance of them both being mothers and having to deal with that loss and stuff. It was a powerful scene, so I like it. Again, bringing into the storyline all these events that happened in the past. That's been a recurring theme, and I think it's really smart. So I love this scene here. And then right at the end, she starts the scene saying, I hear Herschel's voice. And then she ends the scene actually hearing Herschel's voice, because we've learned that it is Herschel. Not going to lie, it feels a little too easy, which is why I still think my theory about Dead City is going to be the actual thing. I still think that's going to happen, because it just feels too easy to me. Herschel was right there. And they had to break in, they had to sneak. I like that in the sneaking scene, I forgot to mention, and there's a sneaking scene right before this. Maggie's the one who slips up and gets caught, and is the reason there's a guy knocked out right beneath them right now. But I like that aspect, because she's still mostly in her head, she's making mistakes. So of course you have to have characters make mistakes every now and again, but we have a reason for it that was been set up in the previous episode. And here we got another fantastic scene with Ezekiel and Negan, and the basically Ezekiel's like, you went too far, and you're gonna blow this, and so he's venting, kind of reiterating. It's a little repetitive because we got a similar scene last episode with him saying, I know you killed people I care about, and the thing that really sticks in Ezekiel's craw is killing the younger brother of Henry. That's his family. He takes that super personally. And that theme of fatherhood in this scene is really good too, because I like that, Ezekiel's like, you don't deserve to be a father. And Negan's like, I'm going to be. It just is a fact. So he really is committed, and it makes you think that Negan's going to turn against them here. Of course, that's not what happens. I knew that right away, so I wasn't surprised at the double twist, basically. But I really love this argument, and seeing Ezekiel showing what he's really thinking. Really good. Really, really good. So we got some great dialogue scenes yet again. Got some good zombie action in the tunnel that I really appreciate. And some gross-looking zombies, which is really cool. And, I like the scenes with Daryl and Connie. I hope that ends up going somewhere. It feels like it might. Here we got closing arguments, and we have Eugene taking the moment to give an epic speech. I love his speech. Again, being a casually interested in the law and stuff, closing arguments is not maybe where you'd want to do this. I don't know. You wouldn't really want the accused speaking to the public necessarily, but at this point, I think they know that they're going to lose no matter what. So he's just saying what needs to be said, talking about doing the right thing and standing up for what's right. And it's a beautiful speech. And again, bringing in his whole history here. They could have easily, like I said, this could have been a Eugene episode. But I guess we already did that with him deciding to turn himself in. So I guess they don't want to double dip, because they do seem to be very focused on giving each episode a big character moment. So I can respect that. But yeah, I really like these courtroom scenes, And I especially liked when we saw Yumiko in the first scene getting through to the crowd, and we see him getting through to the crowd again. So it really looks like it's working. And he also does kind of appeal to Mercer at the end, saying one person can make a difference. And here we got the big climactic scene that I really like. And now I'm really glad that we went back to Alexandria just because we're reusing cool sets. And it turns out Negan like kind of revealed himself to be Negan decided to be the fall guy, to be the guy that's like made an example of for leading the rebellion. His deal is with the guy is, yeah, I'll admit to it and all that, but you have to let my wife go free. And the warden doesn't do that. And, again, Negan's wife is a little over the top in this scene. But in this scene, it makes more sense than the first one because obviously the stakes are a lot higher. So we have this firing squad going on, and Negan is about to get shot up, and then he brings his wife, and Negan's like, that wasn't our deal. And then I really love this part because bringing in from last episode, Negan's like, Ezekiel, you are the hope. We need you to bring that energy, and he does that here. He steps in front of the firing squad, and I love this. Is it rain or snow? I don't know. It's really atmospheric. I'm loving this climax here, and having the soldiers more humanized in this one. So they're kind of like robotic as how they're portrayed in most of the season so far. But now we're humanizing them a bit, and they don't want to just kill these people. So, and of course, we know that Daryl and Connie were going to the windmill. So the fact that they show up right here, right in time, when the warden guy is threatening Kelly. Of course, Daryl and Connie show up right on time. You guys know I get triggered by coincidences and stuff like that. We talk about that a lot in these reviews, but we've been setting up since the beginning of the episode, Daryl and Connie going to the windmill. So it works for me because we keep coming back to that storyline. We're reinforcing that that's where we're going. So I think it fits. I'm not mad at it. I won't complain about it. I really love that dramatic scene there. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I thought Negan was a goner, but of course I was like, the spinoff. No, of course not. He's not going to die. But so again, they cut down a lot of their tension there, because if they hadn't announced the spinoff, I could have totally seen Negan getting the bullets there. And here's Herschel again. I said I think it's too easy, but I think that even the writers know it's a bit too easy. So they have Rosita come in, and Rosita does not know where the baby is. The baby is not there, and she comes out. Oh, and here, I will come back to that in a second, but here we are with the Horde, and our crew is doing the guts trick, and I love the way they shoot this scene at night, and they have the Commonwealth soldiers coming in with trucks that have lights on them, and because that's making it a new threat, because we're in a Horde, we're blending in with the zombies, so the Horde isn't a threat. We've done this so much now that we're comfortable with it. So adding the new threat that, we obviously don't look like zombies to anything that isn't a zombie. So people looking are going to be able to see us. So adding that tension in, really smart. We also get another variant. There is a climber, at least one, in this Horde, because in this moment, you have Lydia dropping a knife. And now I'm not sure why she did it. Maybe she thought that, if I'm holding a knife, it'll look to the Commonwealth soldiers like I am a human as opposed to a zombie, because I don't think knowledge of the variants is all that common yet. So she drops it out of fear of being spotted, and a zombie picks it up. Here it is. This climber zombie picks that up, and he dropped specifically to get that. I think the zombie knew in advance of doing that he saw that was a weapon. He wanted to grab it. Now, whether or not these variants have memories from the person's actual life, so he knows what a weapon is, or whether or not it's just a shiny thing that he saw, I'm wondering how the rules are going to work. They have a specific way of these climber guys moving. And I like that, you know, we have to have rules. That's one thing they figured out after season 1 of The Walking Dead is we need rules for the zombies. It needs to be consistency. So if we're going to have variants, we need consistency with the variants, and we're starting to see that here. So I find this interesting. I wonder if this is just a teaser or if this zombie is going to come back to bite us in the next episode or something. But I think that's the last we see of Lydia, Aaron, Jerry, and them. And here we are back at the torture scene with Rosita. She uses the soldier that got shot as a torture device. It's a little repetitive because we've seen that a few times this season. But, you know, it works for the scene, I think, the tension and all that. I do feel like the Commonwealth soldiers, okay, yes, they're on our side now. They don't want to do firing squad and kill everybody. Fine. But do they want their warden to be murdered? I don't know. It felt like that maybe got a little too far. I would have thought that they would want to step in and say, okay, yeah, we're like on your side, but you're taking this too far. Like, you're still prisoners. We're still your guards. That's the one thing with the scene that makes me pause for a second. So, and then we get this big reveal. Eugene, of course, he's sentenced to death. And here he is meeting with Mercer. And Mercer says, we're going to fuck shit up. And I loved it. Dude, I love this reveal. I would have liked to see, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit more into Mercer maybe next episode and see what's going on in his mind. I would have liked to see that transition a little bit more. Was it the thing with Yumiko that really pushed him to the edge, or was he going to do this already? He had already made that decision. He's just putting on a face for now, etc. So I really enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Only 2 left. Only 2 left. Remember, I'm live streaming after the final episode. I hope to see you there. So sub for more videos, and we're going to keep busting out this Walking Dead content. I'm so excited. It's going to be bittersweet when it's over for sure. I also got a new gaming channel, so you can check that out. Shook Earth Gaming, if you're interested in Resident Evil and stuff like that. I cover a lot of games over there. So hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.